Hi everyone. So this lesson we will actually focus on how do we solve quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is x is equal to minus b plus or minus of square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. First let us look at the proof. How do we get that formula? So the quadratic equation is of the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So therefore we will use the completion of square method in order to get the formula. So when the coefficient of x squared is more than 1, we call it non-monic. So here we want to convert this into a monic quadratic equation. So therefore what we do, we divide the entire equation by a. So divide by a. Divide this equation by a. So what do we get after we divide it by a? We get x squared plus b over a x plus c over a is equal to 0. And then what we do, just like completion of square method, we take the coefficient of x, divide by 2 and you square it. So when you square it, what happens is that you get b over 2a the whole square. So now we write x squared plus b over a x. So when you actually take the coefficient is b over a. So when you actually divide by 2 and square it, you get b over 2a the whole square, and then you minus that constant b over 2a the whole square plus c over a. And the next step, we actually expand the bracket. So you have x squared plus b over ax plus b squared over 4a squared minus b squared over 4a squared plus, so there should be equal to 0 there, okay, plus c over a is equal to 0. So next what we do, we actually convert this into a perfect square form. So when we convert this into perfect square, it becomes x plus b over 2a the whole square, and then we move this constant to the right hand. So these two terms to the right hand side. So that becomes b squared over 4a squared minus c over a. So now again you have to bring this into the right hand side into a single fraction. How do we do that? So x plus b over 2a the whole square is equal to, so in this one the least common denominator is 4a square. So 4a square divided by 4a square is 1. So it is b square. And 4a square divided by a is 4a. Multiply by c, it's 4ac. Just like how you actually do subtraction of fraction. So now we have to solve for x. So what we do, when it is square, so x plus b over 2a. So this becomes plus of minus of. So when you take square root on both sides, this becomes plus of minus of b square minus 4ac divided by 4a square. And now we need only the x on the left hand side. So x is equal to minus b over 2a plus or minus of square root of b square minus 4ac. And then when you actually do square root of 4a square is nothing but 2a. So thus we have actually shown the proof of this formula. So therefore the quadratic formula is minus b plus or minus of square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So once again, so therefore in order to get the proof of the formula, the general form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So when you actually convert this into a monic quadratic equation, you need to divide the entire equation by a, and then you take the coefficient of x, divide by 2 and square it. So we get this equation, and then you actually convert it into a perfect square form and take the other two terms to the right hand side, convert the right hand side into a single fraction, and then you take square root on both sides, and thus you get the formula x is equal to minus b plus of minus of square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So next we will actually do an example using this formula. So therefore, let's solve this quadratic equation. 3x square minus 8x minus 9 is equal to 0. So therefore, the formula is, so we know that the formula is x is equal to, it's always better if you write the formula and then you substitute the values in. So b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So therefore, first let us write what is a, what is b, and what is c. A represent the coefficient of x square, which is 3. B represent the coefficient of x, which is negative 8. And c is the constant, which is minus 9. So now we sub in the value of a, b, and c into the formula. So x is equal to minus of minus 8. So when there is a negative b, always insert a bracket. Plus of minus of minus 8 the whole square minus 4 times of 3 times of negative 9 divided by 2 times 3. So now we actually solve for x. X is equal to minus times minus will give you 8 plus of minus of square root of. So negative value to the whole square is always a positive. So minus 8 the whole square is plus 64, and minus times minus is plus. So 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 times 9 is 1. So 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 times 9 is 144. Sorry, 12 times 9 is 108, sorry. Divided by 6. And now we have x is equal to 8 plus of minus of square root of 172 over 6. So now what we do, we can actually simplify the value, which is, because 172 is not a perfect square, so we can actually simplify it by writing 172 as 4 times of 43, because 4 is a perfect square. So we can actually take the square root of 4 as 2. So we write this as 8 plus of minus of 2. You can take the square root of 4 is 2. So this becomes 2 square root of 43 over 6. And then we can actually take the 2 common out here. So take 2 as the common factor. So you have 4 plus of minus of square root of 43 over 6. So now we have x is equal to 4 plus of minus of square root of 43. So 2 divided by 6, that gives you 3. So it is a third. Square root of 43 is a third. So therefore we can actually leave it in third form, or if you want you can convert it into, use a calculator and convert it into a decimal form. So we can write it as 4 plus of square root of 43 over 3, and x is equal to 4 minus square root of 43 over 3. So we have solved for x. So we'll just go through that once again. So using the formula, so first it's always better you write down the formula and then you write what is a, what is b, and what is c. A represent the coefficient of x square, b represent the coefficient of x, and c represent the constant. So after we sub in the formula, it's always important that you evaluate it correctly. So therefore you can actually see that we get square root of 172 here. Because it is not a perfect square, you can simplify it further by writing it as 4 times of 43 and take the square root of 4 as a 2 And then you can take the 2 as the common factor and then simplify it further. So therefore we have the two values of x, which is 4 plus square root of 4 to 3 over 3. X is equal to 4 minus square root of 4 to 3 over 3.